Welcome to the Snooze Bureau, where the coziest stories are quietly stored in numbered files, and restful sleep is always encouraged. Tonight's file takes you on a calm, rainy walk through the quiet streets of Tokyo. From vending machines, serving hot corn soup to silent bridges and softly lit paper shops. You don't need to go anywhere. The city will come to you step by step in the rhythm of puddles, paper, and steam. Tonight, we invite you to slow down, feel the damp pavement under your feet, and walk through a night that's still very much awake. We'll wander down quiet back streets, pause in front of foggy shop windows, listen to sleepy trains passing by, and maybe, without even noticing, end up inside a tiny temple or a 24-hour laundromat, spinning clothes and thoughts. It's a story about unhurried steps and the kind of beauty that hides in the quiet details. If it's your first time here, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. Around here, sleep is more welcome than urgency. Let us know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is where you are. We love hearing from sleepy souls all over the world. Now take a deep breath, fluff your pillow, and let this rainy city take you by the hand. You don't have to understand everything, just feel it. Good night. It's 10:04 p.m. The rain isn't heavy. It feels like it's gently asking permission to fall. Tiny droplets come down in straight lines, almost as if they were drawn by hand. You watch them calmly, under the clear umbrella you're holding in your left hand. The handle presses lightly against your shoulder. It's a soft kind of discomfort, like the weight of a memory that doesn't hurt. Kanda is almost empty at this hour, but the city doesn't feel abandoned. It feels like it's resting. The streetlights reflect on the wet pavement and the sidewalks shine as if someone had covered them in clear varnish to protect the night. You walk slowly, listening to the sound of your own steps, shoes on water, on stone, on quiet, plock, plock, plock. There's a constant humming from the power lines above. It's not harsh. It feels like company, somewhere between a whisper and a very thin voice. Almost like it's saying, yes, we're still here. You pass a closed convenience store, its metal shutters pulled all the way down. On the side window, a torn poster advertises a sale that ended last month. You can't help but smile a little. There's something sweet about things that don't know they've already passed. The air smells like wet stone, warm concrete steam, and leaves that have soaked up the rain all day. There's a hint of metal too, like there's an invisible rail running under the ground, quietly carrying dreams from one side of the city to the other. You shift the umbrella slightly. The clear edge is covered in tiny drops that vibrate with your movement. They don't roll off, they stay there as if waiting for your permission to keep going. Across the street, there's a vending machine turned off. No lights, the buttons are dark. You walk past it and think how even the machines in Tokyo seem to sleep. Not powered down, sleeping. Like they're waiting for the city's next breath. Farther ahead, you cross a small bridge. It's short, unadorned, with a low green railing that's chipped in places. The water beneath it barely moves. It reflects the light of a distant window like a movie screen waiting for its next film. The sound of the rain hitting the metal railing ticks steadily. Tick, 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 like a lazy metronome. You walk past an old building, The entrance has a small canvas awning swaying with the breeze, and under it a bicycle leans against the wall with a paper bag tied to the handlebars. The bag is wet along the edges. Inside you spot a box of tea. It's a brand you recognize. A small detail, but it warms you. The sound of your steps changes as the ground does. Now it's tile, and the soles of your shoes no longer stick like before. The sound is drier, lighter. Clack, clack, clack. Like the city is tuning its instruments just so you can keep playing. You watch the light reflections in the puddles. They're not all the same. Some are straight, others curve. Some have edges that tremble with the lightest wind. It's as if each puddle had a story to tell, but chose to stay quiet out of respect for your tiredness. You turn a corner and see an electronics shop still flashing neon signs. Blue and pink lights dance across the wet ground. You don't go, and you just watch. A reflection appears in the display window. It's you, with your translucent umbrella and slightly blurred face. And just for a moment you feel like part of the scene. You keep walking past a closed newsstand. The magazines have already been taken down, but the metal clips still hang from the cords. They sway a little, making such a soft sound that it blends in with the rain. A colder breeze slips through. You adjust your coat. The damp fabric brushes your neck. The chill isn't unpleasant. It just reminds you that you have a body, a presence, an existence inside this wide, quiet night. You approach a crosswalk. The signal is red, even though there are no cars. You stop and wait. Because that's what you do. And while you wait, you look up. A tall building disappears into the clouds like it has no end. The rain flows down its facade like silver threads vanishing into the dark. The light changes. You cross. Your steps are steady and soft. The city isn't in a hurry. The city just wants you to walk. On the other side, a small drink shop has its awning pulled in. The window is fogged from the inside. A soft yellow light glows behind the counter and there's an open bottle. Someone forgot to pull the curtain all the way. Inside, it looks like an old painting. Wooden chairs pushed against the wall, a TV turned off in the corner, and a pair of slippers left under the table. You don't go in, you just see. And then you move on. Your steps sound different again, now on concrete blocks. The ground is scattered with leaves stuck by the rain, and one in particular catches your eye. A yellow leaf, perfectly intact, with the tip folded. You watch it until it disappears behind you. Farther ahead, you hear a soft metallic sound, a wind chime hanging on someone's balcony. It turns with effort, making a small, round sound, like a whispered secret meant only for you. You breathe in deeply. The air feels fresher now. The scent of the night has grown sweeter, with a hint of something hard to name. Maybe orange blossom, maybe wet wood, maybe just the memory of something that once made you feel safe. You head into a narrower alley, where the overhead power lines cross like lines drawn by a patient child. The sound of the rain is different here. It echoes, as if each drop were falling into a glass. You feel the whole city around you, not like a place, but like a presence. A quiet companion walking with you, seeing what you see, wrapping you up like a damp, warm blanket. You're not thinking about anything, and that's rare, and that's good. The rain continues, just the same. So do you. You turn down a narrow street without any real reason. Your steps aren't following a destination, just the rhythm of the rain. And that's when you see it. A blue vending machine, all alone, tucked against the side of an old 3-story building that looks like it hasn't been open in years. The wall behind it is stained by time, streaked with marks from rains long gone, and this new rain just gently brushes over it. The machine glows with a soft, faint light, almost shy, like it still wants to shine but doesn't want to bother anyone. You stop. The machine is partly fogged up from the cold and the steam. Someone drew a heart on the side panel with their finger. It's a little smudged now, like a memory trying to stay. You step closer, and the amber light reflects on your damp clothes. It almost feels like it recognizes you. Among the usual options, green tea, canned coffee, grape juice, sparkling water, there's one yellow button in the lower right corner. It's small, almost hidden. On it, there's a picture of a corn cob. You smile. Not because it's funny, but because it's so wonderfully unexpected. The label says, corn soup. You press the button gently like you're touching something alive. It hums slightly under your finger. No loud sound, no dramatic click, just a quiet yes. A second later, you hear the soft clunk of metal. Clack. The can drops into the tray with the calm precision of something that's practiced this 1,000 times. You bend down to pick it up. The can is hot, really hot. The warmth burns gently against your cold fingers, and that contrast makes you smile again. This time from the inside. You crack it open. Steam escapes with a little hiss, like a tiny ceremony. And then the smell hits. Corn, butter, salt, thyme. You hold the can with both hands like it's the center of the universe, and maybe it is. In that moment, it's all there is. You lean against the wall beside the machine. It's damp, but not dripping. The rain seems to respect this small improvised shelter. Next to you, a rusty pipe drips in perfect rhythm. Plip, 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 a wet metronome. You take a sip. It's thick, slightly sweet. Tiny bits of corn float in a broth that warms more than just your mouth. It warms your thoughts. It tastes like something old, like a childhood you don't fully remember. Like comfort that doesn't need a reason. You close your eyes for a moment, and when you open them, the street feels even more empty. But that doesn't bother you. In fact, it feels like you were chosen for this moment. Next to the machine, there's a small laminated poster with a child's drawing. A kid holding the same can you're holding now. The child is smiling. The caption in katakana says, "Warm equals happy." You agree. On the ground, there's a soggy newspaper. The cover shows a red umbrella blowing in the wind. The headline reads, "Clear skies expected by Thursday." You don't know what day it is, but it doesn't matter. You take another sip. More corn, more warmth, more shapeless memory. Across the street, a reusable shopping bag taps against a wall in the wind. Inside it, a gift box with a red ribbon, a little bent but still tied. You imagine a whole story for that package, and then you let it go. On top of the machine, someone stuck a sticker of a plush fish. It looks forgotten, but it's clean. You touch it. It's damp, soft, like it was placed there to watch over the spot. You finish half the can. You decide to save the rest. Next to the machine, there's a small bin for used cans. Sitting on top, there's a keychain with a tiny bell. The kind that's supposed to ring, but this one doesn't. It's taped still. You think about freeing it, but you respect the quiet. Now you hold the can with just one hand. The steam blends with the rain, creating your own little cloud. For a few steps, you're followed by this soft warmth in the air, and then it fades. You turn the next corner and pass a lit apartment window. Inside, a woman slices vegetables on a wooden board. You can only see her hands. And you hear it. Knife on wood, knife on memory, knife on time. You wonder who she's cooking for. Or maybe it's just for herself, and then you realize it doesn't matter. What matters is that the stove is on. What matters is the care. Up ahead, a narrow alley. You walk in. In the corner, a trash bin is chained to the wall. Hanging over the chain, like someone left it without thinking too much, is a small origami bird. The rain has softened its shape, but it's still there. Quietly beautiful. You finish the soup in front of a narrow canal. The dark water reflects the light of a closed restaurant. Its red lanterns are off but still sway gently. You see your own distorted shape in the current, and for a moment you're not sure if you're looking or being looked at. You place the can in the recycling bin, a small gesture, but complete. You give a quiet thanks to the blue machine, and start walking again. Your face feels warmer now, your thoughts a little lighter. The city is still raining, but somehow it feels like it's raining differently now. You carry the soup's warmth in your fingers, and the blue machine's silence inside your chest, like a folded note no one else got to see. The narrow street you've been walking on opens suddenly into an even quieter side lane. It's a shy little curve, almost invisible on any map. But somehow your body knows where to go. The rain keeps falling slowly, steady but gentle. Tiny drops gather on the edge of your coat. Your footsteps still match the rhythm of the night. Plock, plock, plock. At the far end of the lane, there's a white storefront glowing under a tired fluorescent light. It flickers once, then holds steady. It's a laundromat. You walk closer. The door is frosted glass. In the bottom corner, there's a little blue cartoon guy carrying a laundry basket on his head. Below him it reads, 24 age. Always open, always spinning. You push the door gently. Inside, the air is different, warm. It smells like soap with a faint hint of vinegar. And something electrical. Maybe the scent of machines working the way they're supposed to. The floor is soft gray rubber. Your steps make no sound. It feels like stepping into a bubble outside of time. The rain can't reach your ears in here. Only the quiet hum of spinning drums. You walk over to a blue plastic bench against the wall. It's still warm. Someone sat here not long ago. But now the laundromat is empty. You sit down. To your right, 3 washers are running. The clothes inside turn slowly, as if they know. There's no rush. One of the dryers catches your eye. Something about the shape inside it. You get up quietly. Inside the drum, spinning with quiet care, is a Japanese taiko drum, medium size, wrapped in a navy blue cloth. The light-colored wood along the edges is worn from use. The drum turns like it's being healed, like the machine's heat is waking something up inside it. You lean in, almost pressing your face to the glass. Each rotation makes a soft, deep sound. Fum, fum, fum. In the corner of the laundromat, sitting on a plastic basket, there's a small portable radio. It's on, playing soft instrumental music, slow beats, lazy piano, and a soft hiss in the background that sounds like breathing. Lo-fi, but different. It feels made for this moment, for this drum, for this laundromat, for you. You return to the bench. You close your eyes. Everything is spinning now. The clothes, the drum, the music, the silence. You feel like there's nothing left to fix. Like every noise in the world has been put on pause. Across from you, there's a metal shelf with a few forgotten items. A bag of candy, a paper cup, a small pack of fabric softener. On one shelf, there's a glass jar with a note taped to it. Tozo, please take one. You do. You walk over. Pick out a yuzu candy. The wrapper is yellow and see-through with soft folds. You don't open it, you just hold it. Feel the texture between your fingers like a little lucky charm. Back on the bench, you notice a paper bag at your feet. Inside, a pair of folded socks, a blue ribbon, and a thin magazine called Meals for One. You read the back cover. Rice for a rainy day, broth for when no one shows up, soup for when silence feels too full. You smile, no sound, just the corner of your mouth rising slowly. The drum is still spinning. The music shifts. Now it's a slowed-down version of some 80s song, just keyboard and digital wind. You don't know the tune, but you know the feeling. Like lying on an old couch under a blanket that smells like the back of the closet, while rain taps gently on the porch gutter. The dryer with the drum beeps. The door unlocks with a soft click. You get up slowly. Open the door carefully. The drum is sitting there. Warm, damp, still. You touch the edge of the wood. It's gently pulsing. It feels alive. The laundromat door opens. A man walks in. Middle-aged, gray cap, clear raincoat. He doesn't say anything, just gives a small bow to the room, to the moment. He places a basket of laundry in machine number 4, presses the buttons quietly, then sits across the room and pulls out a small notebook from his pocket. He begins to write, slowly. You don't try to see what it is, but you know. These are soft words, words in no rush to become memories. The music plays on. The drum rests in the warmth of the dryer, still wanting to stay. You put the yuzu candy in your mouth. It bursts open with a gentle flavor, tart, sweet, damp, warm, familiar. The drum seems to smile. You return to your seat. The machines spin. The music breathes. The man writes. The candy melts. And you realize you're being slowly washed, too. Not by water, but by this absurd, quiet stillness. In the corner, there's a cardboard box covered in stickers. One of them reads, "Maybe the laundromat is washing you too." You believe it. You lean your head back against the wall, close your eyes again, and everything spins with you. You step out of the laundromat, your shoulders still warm. The door closes behind you with a soft pneumatic sigh, like a machine saying, "Take care," in its own quiet language. The rain is still falling, steady and patient, decorating the streets with droplets that no longer surprise you. They're just part of the architecture of time now. Crossing the street slowly, guided by nothing but the warmth you're still carrying. From the yuzu candy, from the spinning drum. Your feet take you to the quiet front of a low building with thick fogged windows. Between two parked bicycles, there's a small dark wooden sign with faded gold letters. Cafe Gecko. The door has a brass handle, polished smooth from years of use. You grab it. It's warm, as if it never really gets cold. As you open the door, a faint bell chimes above, soft enough to blend in with the sound of rain. One step inside, and everything shifts. The air in the Kisaten is thick, not heavy, just full. Like the smell of old paper mixed with freshly ground coffee. The dark wood walls, shelves filled with mismatched teacups and burgundy velvet chairs all seem to have been placed here long ago, and then decided to stay. The music playing comes from a record player hidden behind the counter. Jazz. Something slow, instrumental with a distant saxophone and a whispering piano. You know the tune, but not the name. It lives in that drawer in your memory where old letters and dusty Sunday afternoons are kept. No one greets you with words. The man behind the counter just looks up and gives you a small nod, like someone who recognizes a regular even if it's been a long time. You pick a table in the corner facing one of the fogged windows. In the center, there's a tiny plastic flower in a jelly jar glass. The man, wearing a brown sweater and carefully combed back hair, walks to your table. He brings a cup and a saucer. No questions, no menu. He just serves. It's black coffee, no sugar, nothing added. But it has everything. You hold the cup with both hands. It's warm, with tiny drops forming around the rim. The smell is strong but not sharp. There's something old in the roast. Something that feels like a memory carefully stored away. You take a sip, it's bitter, then soft. Almost like the flavor wanted to be rough but changed its mind halfway through. You place the cup down. The sound, clink, feels like a comma between two thoughts. Next to your table, there's a small shelf filled with hardback books. All in Japanese, their spines worn thin. One of them is open on a wooden stand. Maybe a diary, maybe poetry. The handwriting dances across the page in a way that speaks even if you can't read it. The man returns to the counter. He takes a vinyl from its sleeve, blows gently on it, wipes it with a neatly folded cloth, then lowers the needle with a care that feels sacred. The music shifts. Now a slow, upright bass with the faint static of a record that breathes like a sleeping pet. On the wall near the restroom, there's a framed print of a train crossing a wooden bridge. The scene looks old, maybe from the 60s. The colors are faded, but the sound of the train seems to be trapped behind the glass. You take another sip of coffee. Slower this time. The rain keeps tapping the window. No urgency. Like it knows every moment has its time. Across the room, a woman sits alone. She's reading a newspaper, turning pages with small, practiced movements. A printed scarf tied around her head. In front of her, a glass of water reflects the soft yellow light from a lamp. The ice has already melted. She doesn't seem to mind. The music changes again. Now it's a piano that sounds a little lost, stumbling over its notes. Jazz so slow it nearly disappears. The man behind the counter wipes a cup with a cloth that's long lost its shine. His motions are slow, circular, precise, almost like a dance. You glance at the frames on the wall. Some have handwritten quotes, others hold yellowed newspaper clippings. One says, "Some nights don't need conversation, just presence." You get it. Your coffee is almost gone. At the bottom of the cup, a small dark residue, like a quiet reminder that everything leaves something behind. You're in no rush to leave. The music plays on. The man now reads a thick blue book, a fabric bookmark peeking from its pages. He doesn't turn them. The woman in the scarf gets up, pays silently. The man gives her a small nod. She leaves with a subtle wave. The bell rings again. Rain sneaks in for a moment, then stays outside. You're alone in the cafe now, but you don't feel lonely. Just a kind of presence that only very quiet places know how to offer. You finish the coffee. The cup is still warm, even empty. You take a deep breath, pick up your bag and stand. The man still reading looks up, gives a slight bow. You return it. By the door you notice a shelf filled with forgotten umbrellas. One of them has green handles and a tag taped to it. If it starts raining too hard, take one. You smile. But don't take it. The door closes behind you with a sound that feels like a period, and you return to the night. Stepping out of the Kissaton, you're welcomed back by the rain. It hasn't grown stronger or lighter, it just keeps being. A quiet, steady presence, like time being gently watered. The path now takes you along sloped, stone-paved streets. Kagurazaka feels like a small town hidden inside the city. Winding, irregular, full of narrow alleyways that seem to fold in on themselves. The buildings are lower here, the lampposts older, and the air smells like damp wood and dry tea. You walk, without a plan, just letting your feet decide. On your left, a bamboo gate slightly open. On your right, a house with grapevines growing across its tiled roof. Overhead power lines crisscross the sky like a sketch still in progress. Then you see it. A small window, nestled into the wall of a narrow, dark wooden shop. A thick fabric awning stretches over the door. The glass, fogged up from the shifting air, reveals something unexpected. Paper, but not just any paper. Sheets of all sizes, long, short, square, wide, hanging from twine like delicate clothing. Some are white, like forgotten snow. Others, blue like a June sky. You spot shades of light tea, wet sand, dried plum. Even through the glass, the textures seem to reach out. One sheet has visible fibers, like pressed leaf veins. Another looks like it was dyed with shiso ink and then rinsed in silence. You step inside. The shop is narrow but deep. The wooden floor creaks beneath your shoes, a sound that feels like a warm welcome, spoken in an old voice. The air smells, like pulp, sweet dust, and gently folded thyme. At the entrance, a small elderly woman is organizing notebooks. She doesn't speak, just meets your eyes and smiles. She wears a knit vest and glasses attached to a lilac cord. She returns to her work, and you begin to wander. The papers are arranged by feeling. On one pale wooden shelf, textured sheets so subtle they seem to hold secrets. One has tiny sparkling flecks inside, as if someone trapped stardust mid-float. Hanging from a string, a light blue linen-like sheet sways gently with the breeze from a half-open window. You step closer. A sticky note beside it reads in delicate handwriting, "This paper remembers your thoughts, even if you don't write them down." You believe it. At a low table there are notebooks wrapped in kimono fabric, each with a different button hand-sewn to the cover. In another corner, hand-carved wooden stamps, a leaf, a cloud, a pair of socks. You pick one up, a drawing of a closed-eyed envelope. Beneath it, for sealing things that don't need to be said. You run your fingers over a sheet beside it, thick like dried orange peel. It makes a soft sound as you touch it, almost a whisper. A background voice only paper seems to understand. In the center of the shop, a table holds objects arranged like someone just stepped away. Fountain pens with dried ink traces. A bamboo ruler worn at the edges. A pair of scissors with a bent handle. A pot of glue that smells faintly like childhood. On the table, a folded paper with a handwritten phrase, "Right here, only what can be forgotten." You sit. The chair creaks. Softly, almost kindly, you pick up a short pencil and a beige sheet with gently wavy edges. You write 2 lines, then stop. You read them, then carefully fold the paper and place it on the stack in the center. Nothing will be saved, but everything will remain. At the back of the store there's a small aquarium with a single fish, an orange and white ryukin. It moves slowly, circling, yawning. You approach. It looks at you, or seems to. The water bubbles are far too big for the tiny tank. The woman now pours herself some tea. You watch the steam rise from a porcelain cup with a faint crack. The sound of the water hitting ceramic is soft, almost memory. You spot an old postcard with a snow-covered train station. On the back, a sentence. "If you forget where you were going, return to where the tracks began." You decide to buy it. Just that. It's enough. At checkout, the woman wraps it in a strip of brown fabric ribbon and hands it to you with both hands. You nod in thanks. Her smile says, "Thank you for existing right now." You get ready to leave, but something on the wall catches your eye. A handwritten letter framed. The paper is yellowed, edges stained. The neat handwriting begins. "To the shop that taught me how to listen to silence." You don't read the rest. Some sentences are more beautiful left unfinished. By the door, there's a box with hand-drawn maps. She offers you one. Inside, soft arrows and tiny notes. "Best sweetbread is here." A white cat sometimes naps on this corner. If you lose something, start looking here. You fold the map and place it in your coat's inner pocket, along with the postcard. The door opens with a soft creak and the scent of paper, fish, tea, and sweet dust follows you outside. You take a deep breath. The air is still damp, but now also sweet, and the rain, silent as ever, goes on. The rain continues like a polite guest, never invading, just existing gently around you, like ambient sound with a hint of dampness. With the postcard tucked in your pocket and the folded map resting against your chest, you follow a street that seems to slope downward slowly, like a thought still taking shape. The cobblestones shine under the glow of short streetlights. It's not a harsh shine, it's inviting. The alleys begin to narrow and the silence shifts. Now it feels like it's holding something, like a pause before a whisper. You turn a corner, unhurried, and then you stop. In front of you, a stairway. Not very long, slightly curved, with narrow steps, uneven edges, and small side posts, each casting a soft amber light, more suggestion than illumination. On the third step, right in the middle, they sit. 3 cats, one black with sleek fur, one gray, fluffier with slightly bent ears, and one orange tabby, sitting upright, paws perfectly aligned, like it's about to correct your posture. They sit side by side, not moving, not sleeping, just being. You stop out of instinct, not out of fear or surprise, but because it feels like some unspoken ritual is in progress. A quiet moment, choreographed and sacred, that you shouldn't disturb. The steps are wet. Water drips slowly through the cracks. But the cats don't seem to care. They don't even look wet. For a moment, they hardly look real. You take a step. The gray cat turns its head, just slightly. A small movement but clear. It doesn't meow, doesn't move. It just acknowledges you, as if to say, go on, but slowly. You climb the first step, then the second. The sound of your steps is softened by the rain and the moss along the edges. Plop, plop. A slow rhythm, like a melody only playing inside your head. On the 5th step, the orange cat flicks its tail, just once. Not a warning. A nod. You keep climbing. Midway up, you pause, you glance back. The street behind you now looks far away. Smaller, blurry, like a recent memory still wet at the edges. You look up. The top of the stairway glows beneath the light of an old lamppost. The bulb sways slightly in the wind, creaking with a low tone, deeper than it should be, like it's heavy with stories. Beside your foot, someone has drawn a fish in chalk. A simple sketch, big eyes, a curved tail like a comma. Next to it, a line of crooked kanji. Only cats know where the dream ends. You breathe in. Keep walking. Now the black cat is facing you. It's not in a stance to attack, not planning to run. It just watches, like a silent gatekeeper to something sacred. You pass them, one by one. You don't feel judged, just quietly tested. At the top, there's a small concrete terrace with 2 iron benches. You sit. The cushion is damp, but you don't mind. At this point, the moisture feels like a part of you. From here, you can see the backs of old buildings, rusted water tanks, clothes on quiet clotheslines, a crooked antenna, a solar panel speckled with raindrops. Everything is so ordinary, it becomes extraordinary. You don't speak or think. You just watch. Then, a soft meow. So quiet, it's more like a sigh than a sound. You turn. The black cat is sitting beside you. You don't know when it arrived. It's just here now. Not looking directly at you, but close, very close. You share the bench, the space, the rain, and for a few minutes' time, it yawns. A long, lazy yawn, then curls its tail around its body and closes its eyes. Not in deep sleep, just a peaceful rest. You look up at the sky. Thick clouds cover everything, no moon, no stars. Just a blanket of gray, like it's holding the dreams of the entire city. The cat breathes slowly. You follow, and for a moment you're nothing but your own breath. Time passes. You don't know how long. But eventually, the cat stands, hops off the bench, takes 3 steps, then begins to walk down the stairs. 1 step at a time. No glance back. No rush, you don't call after it, you just watch. Maybe it came to walk with you this far, or maybe it just wanted to share a dry bench for a while. You stand up, take a breath. The cushion keeps the shape of where you sat. You begin walking down the other side of the stairs. These steps are more worn, less even, but your feet already know the way. On the final step, near an overgrown bush, there's a small ceramic bowl filled with rainwater. Beside it, 3 paw prints, 1 black, 1 gray, 1 orange. You smile, just a little, and keep walking. The feeling of having passed through something sacred without knowing exactly why stays with you. And that's okay. Not everything needs to be understood. The street now feels narrower, not because of the buildings and they're still low and old, but because of the silence. A deep, gentle silence that slows your steps and rests softly on your shoulders. It doesn't bring fear. It brings something else. A kind of quiet respect. There's less rain here. Maybe because of the trees bending over the alley. Maybe out of respect for what lies ahead. To your left, a 2-story building with a dark wooden facade, an old sign with faded gold characters. And beneath a worn canvas awning, a half-open doorway. A navy blue Norrin curtain with a white symbol hanging in the center. The classic mark for hot springs. You stop at the entrance. It's an onsen. A public bath, closed but not lifeless. You step closer. The curtain sways gently in the breeze, revealing a narrow hallway with dark wooden floors and beige tiled walls. You don't go in. You just look. The air escaping from inside carries the scent of clean soap, fresh towels, and old steam. It's not the smell of a thing. It's the smell of a place. You close your eyes for a moment just to breathe it more clearly. A soft round sound. A bamboo bell. It hangs from a braided cord just above the doorway. And when the wind catches it just right, it spins and lets out a low, brief tone. Tlon. You take a deep breath. Something about that bell tells you time moves differently here. Thicker. Slower. Warmer. Next to the door, there's a wooden bench with 2 plastic-covered cushions, still damp from the rain. A neatly folded towel sits on one. On top of the towel, a light wooden comb, its wide teeth holding a few soft strands of hair. You don't touch it. You just notice. Inside, barely visible, an orange light reflects off a spotted mirror. You imagine the sound of water filling a bucket, spilling onto stone floors, skin meeting heat. You hear it, even without hearing. The curtain sways again. A thin wave of steam escapes like a shy ghost. It brushes your face for a moment, then disappears like a memory made of warmth. You glance up. Above the entrance, there's a small wooden vent. Through the slats, a thin stream of vapor rises. Like the building is still breathing. You sit on the bench. The damp wood clings slightly to your clothes. But it feels good. Familiar. Like a forgotten towel draped gently over your shoulders. You listen to the city pull away behind you. Inside this onsen, silence has a scent, a sound, a temperature. On the ground next to the bench, someone has left, a rubber sandal flipped upside down. Its sole is clean. You imagine someone left it there in a hurry. Or just stepped out, meaning to come back. You wait. For what? You're not sure. But you wait. The bell rings again. This time, louder. A gentle reminder. You look around and notice a small altar built into the outside wall, protected by a wooden cover. Inside, a candle, still lit, its flame low and steady, protected by thick glass. There's a bowl of water, 2 old coins, and a slip of paper with hand-painted characters. One is slightly smudged by moisture, as if it had been written with trembling hands. Beside it, a flat stone holds a damp tea bag. You wonder if it's an offering or simply resting. The light inside the onsen flickers. You see a shadow move, or maybe it was just the rain reflecting in the old mirror. You close your eyes. Your mind wanders into the rooms you can't see. You picture the wet floor, the wicker baskets stacked in corners, the small stools in front of fogged-up mirrors, the colorful buckets and the old metal faucets worn smooth from use. You feel warm water trickling from your shoulders down your back. You hear the hiss of steam between the stones, and the silent choir of relaxed bodies sunk halfway into steaming baths. Nothing happens, and everything does. When you open your eyes, the candle is still burning. The sandal is still flipped. The curtain still sways. The bell still rings. But now, it rings inside you. You stand. The bench keeps your shape. Next to the entrance, a wooden mailbox with a handwritten label. If you want to leave a note, even with no address, go ahead. You take a small edge of the folded map from your pocket. Tear it gently. With a pencil you write, "Thank you for the warm silence." You fold it. Slide it into the box. The rain picks up, just slightly. Bigger drops. Slower. More certain. You bow, your head softly toward the onsen, a quiet goodbye, and keep walking. Like someone stepping away from a hug. The rain has gotten a little heavier now, but still gentle. It taps with a rounder sound on the tree leaves, on the metal signs at the corners, and on your coat. You feel the drops slide from your hood down your collar, a thin, cool line brushing your skin with a slow shiver. You turn down another narrow street and spot the shop window. It doesn't stand out. A slim door, a faded cream awning, and a handwritten sign on a small chalkboard that reads, "Socks and Kindness." You smile. You push open the glass door with both hands. A little bell above the entrance rings, a tired but warm sound. The shop smells like fresh cotton, raw wood, and old paper. It's a sock store. A real one. Socks of all kinds, carefully, arranged in low shelves and open drawers. A shopkeeper appears from behind a floral screen. She's a slender woman with her hair neatly tied in a bun and a gray apron with cloth buttons. She looks at you for a second, then at the rain outside. And then she says, like someone offering you the best seat by the window, "You can hang your coat there. It's soaked." You smile. No words needed. You do as she suggests. Next to the door, a small hook. You hang your coat. It drips slowly, forming a round puddle on the wooden floor. You walk quietly through the store. The socks are rolled like little candies arranged in gift boxes. One row has vegetable prints, another with geometric patterns, another with cats doing stretches. There's a shelf just for fluffy socks, another for hand-knit wool, and another with cotton socks hand-embroidered around the edges. You pick one, up, light blue with a tiny umbrella stitched on the side. The tag, tied with a thin string, says, "For days with patient raindrops." You hold it. Not to buy, just to feel the soft weight in your hands. The shopkeeper walks over with a small towel. "Your hair," she says, gently gesturing. You nod. She hands you the folded towel and you rub it lightly over your head. It smells like plain soap and sunshine, even though it probably hasn't seen the sun. She watches you for a moment, then walks to the back of the shop, where there's a small moss-green cabinet with painted drawers. She opens the third one, takes out an umbrella, white with a print of colorful sushi, seaweed, nigiri, tamaki rolls. The handle is wood, the tip is rounded. A red cord wraps around the middle to keep it closed. She walks over and offers it with both hands. "Borrow it just for today," she says. You hold it like it's a childhood gift returned. It's not new. The fabric has a few worn spots, but it's clean. Perfect. Bring it back whenever. Or don't, she adds with a quiet smile. You thank her with the smallest gesture. Real gratitude doesn't need to be big. Next to the counter, there's a small board with handwritten notes clipped up like laundry, messages left by other visitors, all in pen. "These socks led me to a cafe I never went into. I wore the cat ones while waiting for good news. Came back just to return the umbrella, but ended up staying. Bought 3 pairs and got a lovely silence for free." You read them slowly, not because they demand attention, but because they feel like they're waiting to be heard. The woman walks behind the counter and turns on an electric kettle. The soft click of the switch and the growing hum of water heating fills the quiet of the shop like a soft soundtrack. While you wait, you glance at the wall behind the counter. There's a framed photo. A little girl with a sock up to her knee trying to balance in grown-up shoes. The caption below reads, "That was me. You get it." The kettle whistles softly. She pours barley tea into a thick paper cup and places a slice of rice cracker on a small wooden plate. You accept it. The tea is warm, almost sweet. The cracker is crisp and light, like edible tracing paper. Outside, the rain continues, but now it taps on the window with more care, as if saying, "Take your time, you finish the tea." The shopkeeper hands you a small tag with a red string. If you'd like to name the umbrella, write it here. You pick up a pen from a mug full of them on the counter. You write, "Kindly temporary." You tie the tag gently onto the handle. Shito gives you a look of approval. You put your coat back on. It's still damp, but somehow less cold. At the door, you open the umbrella slowly. It makes that familiar sound. Fabric stretching out like the opening of an old circus tent. She holds the curtain back so you can step out. You walk into the rain. She watches for a moment, then returns to the counter. You keep walking with the umbrella open above your head. It feels light. The sushi print brightens the gray sky like a little secret smile. And even in the rain, you feel covered by something more than fabric. You arrive in Shimbashi just as your pocket watch ticks toward midnight. At this hour, the neighborhood seems to breathe slower. Footsteps on the sidewalk echo gently, and the neon signs that once blinked frantically now flicker like candles. At the end of a party, the rain is still falling, but now it's thin as if it had been filtered through many hours. Your borrowed umbrella clicks softly with each raindrop. It's a repetitive rhythm, but comforting, like a lullaby only the city knows. You walk toward the station. It's no longer busy. Just a few travelers wander the halls with small backpacks and sleepy steps. Some are leaving, some are waiting, but no one seems to be in a rush. The entrance to the oldest train line has stone stairs, worn smooth by years of use. The metal railings glisten under the neon lights overhead. You descend, slowly. The sound changes with each step. First the muffled announcements over the loudspeakers, then your shoes against the marble floor, and finally, the trains. You stop at platform 2. Not because you're getting on, just because the sound of the trains here is different. It's deep, gentle, and continuous. A whisper of steel and electricity that approaches slowly, hums through your spine and fades away. You sit on a wooden bench near the end of the platform. It's slightly damp but welcoming, like a seat someone warmed up and left just for you. In front of you, the tracks glisten with reflections of the overhead yellow lights. Rain trickles down the electric wires above. When it hits the rails, it evaporates with a tiny hiss. Tss. The next train arrives. It slows down like it's sleepy. The doors open with a soft psh. No one gets off. No one gets on. You look inside. Just 3 passengers, each lost in their own world. A man in a suit asleep with his chin on his chest. An older woman holding a plastic floral umbrella even though she's already dry. A teenage girl writing in a notebook, her letters small and tilted. The doors close with a clack. The train glides away. Its engine hums, low, soft, like a cat purring. As it pulls into the dark, it leaves behind a trail of warm air and the echo of rails vibrating just a few seconds longer than expected. You stay seated. Beside you there's an old faded poster. It shows a colorful spiral map of the subway lines. In the corner, a small post-it reads, "The wait matters more than the destination." You believe it. Above, the station chime plays. Just a few soft electronic notes, composed only for this place. 4 tones, spaced gently, like raindrops tapping the lid of a tiny music box. The loudspeaker announces another train. The voice is slow, calm, rhythmic. You don't understand every word, but you understand the tone. It isn't warning you. It's soothing you. You close your eyes for a moment. The bench molds to your body. The sound of the tracks merges with the rain, the announcements with the background music. It's like sitting inside an acoustic shell made to slow down the world. When you open your eyes, you see a man standing far down the platform. He's holding a flower wrapped in newspaper. He doesn't seem to be waiting for anyone. He's just breathing there. The next train passes without stopping. Its sound is sharper, a clean line slicing through the air. But not harsh, just motion continuing. You stand up, walk slowly along the platform, each step absorbed by the rubber floor. You touch the railing. It's warm even in the moist night air, holding on to the heat of hands that touched it throughout the day. Near the exit, there's an old ticket machine. Its screen flickers faintly. Above it, a sign in English and Japanese. Your journey doesn't end here. You climb the stairs again. The sound of the tracks is behind you now, but it still hums in your chest, a vibration that lingers by the sidewalk. The rain seems calmer, softer drops, like the city is taking a slow breath. You open the sushi print umbrella with a light click, and you keep walking. Now with the sound of sleepy trains still whispering gently inside you. Section 10. Forgotten posters in the underground hallway of Akihabara. You cross a quiet intersection, and the city shifts once more. The loud, colorful storefronts of Akihabara are still there, but now they feel muted. The flashing signs blink, in silence as if trying not to wake anyone up. The entrance to the underground passage is tucked between two closed shops. A concrete stairway leads down into a tunnel that connects different corners of the neighborhood beneath the streets. You've walked through here before and during the day when it's packed with people, lights, and noise, but now it's different. You descend. The lighting is dim. Fluorescent tubes, spaced unevenly, create zones of light, shadow, and that strange in-between, where time seems to slide rather than pass. The floor is made of white tiles, stained yellow in places, damp and slick along the edges. Your reflection flickers in and out as you move, dancing across tiny puddles gathered in the corners, and then you see them. Posters. Everywhere. Pasted on the walls with aging tape. Some pinned up with rusty tacks, others curled at the edges. Layers upon layers. Ads for old concerts, restaurant specials for places that no longer exist. Outdated calendars, flyers for voice acting classes, brochures for tourist spots that might not even be real anymore. You stop in front of the first one, and you head for a jazz vinyl shop. The image shows an empty armchair, a glass of whiskey, and a record spinning alone. In the corner, a date, 2009. Next to it, handwritten in blue ink, "I'll come back when the rain stops." You walk a little further, a torn poster for an autumn festival. Orange leaves over the background of a temple. Half of it is missing. In the center, someone wrote in tiny letters, "I went alone." But everything felt full. With each step through the tunnel, the sound of your footsteps changes, sometimes echoing, sometimes sinking, sometimes barely there at all. You notice you're slowing down, stopping more, reading. Some posters are too faded to make out. Others breathe softly, swaying in the breeze of the tunnel, as if they're still trying to be seen. You run your hand over one, a flyer with a train map, clearly out of date. The paper wrinkles beneath your fingers with a dry rustle. like a page that's been quietly awake for years. Across the tunnel, a clear plastic box hangs on the wall. Inside, folded slips of paper. A simple sign, in 3 languages, reads, "If you'd like to leave a note, go ahead." You pull out a small piece of paper from your pocket. The edge is slightly damp. You write, "Today the trains whispered my name." You fold it and drop it in. Next to the box, a collage of small notes, held up by clothespins and a spontaneous mural. You read a few. "I ate an onigiri here at 4:32 a.m. Left an unnamed song trapped between these walls. Love sometimes waits in the wrong hallway. Farther along there's a vending machine that's no longer working. Its interior light still blinks stubbornly. Someone has drawn a window on its side in black pen. Inside the window, taped up, there's a cutout photo of a teacup. A handwritten caption reads, "For when your eyes need to rest." You lean against the wall nearby. Here, the sounds of the city above are muffled. Far away, only the soft hum of the corridor remains, a constant vibration that seems to rise from the floor itself. You close your eyes for a moment. When you open them again, you realize all the posters carry small stories. Some have faint fingerprints, like someone held on to them for too long. Others are labeled in crayon. One has a cloud-shaped stamp. Another features a rabbit sticker wearing headphones. Overhead, a flickering tube light groans with every shift of air, groaning, dripping. Footsteps. Silence. All of it pulses together. You sit briefly on a side step made for resting. The air smells like damp dust and old glue. You take a slow breath. Next to your foot, a rolled-up poster has fallen. You unroll it. It's a list of events from the year 2013. Each date has a tiny sketch beside it. Umbrellas, wine glasses, and one that simply says, "This was the day nobody noticed." You tack it back to the wall with a paper pebble someone once used as a weight. At the end of the tunnel, the stairs back to the street come into view. The light above them is brighter, whiter, clearer, but somehow you walk slower now. On the final wall, a large old poster. A winter campaign, decorated with watercolor snowflakes. In the center, in faded lettering, "When you don't know where to go, read the walls." You take a deep breath and climb. Each step has a sound. Each step has its own time. And the rain outside still falls the same way. As you emerge from the underground stairway, the rain greets you like an old friend. There's no wind, no rush, just thin drops that touch your face like a warm cloth. The street feels more asleep than ever. The neighborhood is made of small shops, dark display windows, awnings dripping at the pace of the night. A street lamp blinks once, then settles into steady light. You walk with your umbrella open, and it answers back with a soft silk sound as the rain gently lands. There's something protective about it, not just from the weather, but from the world's hurry. You turn left by instinct. There, between a closed candy shop and a barber shop with a retro sign, you see it. A flower shop. The front is pale wood, already worn, and the glass door is covered with a lace curtain. A sign hangs from a string, faded letters saying, "Back tomorrow, maybe earlier." But even with the shop closed, the flowers are still there. Beneath the awning, safe from the rain, bouquets sleep in metal buckets. Each one a different size, a different height, a different color. Some shiny silver, others rusted. Lined up in a row that looks more like a collection of tiny planets. You get closer. The air smells like cut stems, wet leaves, and cellophane paper keeping quiet secrets. You lean in slightly. The bouquets are all wrapped in old newspaper, tops open to breathe. Carnations, chrysanthemums, closed lilies, and tiny wildflowers that seem like they came from a field found only in old people's dreams. Each bouquet has a handwritten tag, taped on with regular clear tape. You read one. For days that don't know how to smile. Another says, take only if you'll care for them. You keep reading. Flowers for those still waiting. No reason needed. This one's just to decorate a thought. You feel the urge to take one, but you know you don't have to. Reading them already feels like enough. Next to the buckets, a wooden box with pens and strips of paper. A small laminated note. If you'd like to write something to them, go ahead. You pull a thin piece of paper. The fountain pen is tied to the box with string. You write slowly. Rest well. Someone will fall in love with you tomorrow. You too. Fold it and leave it with the others. A raindrop slips from the awning and lands in the center of your palm. It's cold, but harmless. In the corner of the storefront, a shelf holds tiny flower pots. Some still filled with damp soil, others empty. One has a tiny sprout you don't recognize. A little tag is taped around the pot. I don't know what I'll become yet. You smile. On the other side, a white plastic chair. Someone has draped a colorful tablecloth over it, like a makeshift altar. On top sits an old rusty teapot filled with dry leaves, releasing a scent of warm tea and tangerine peel. You sit on a small bench near the shop window. It creaks, but molds to your shape. The flowers breathe around you. The paper wrapping rustles, softly in the breeze dancing under the awning. The rain, a little steadier now, taps gently against tarps, leaves, and stone. You close your eyes for a moment and picture each bouquet being chosen by someone. One flower going to a forgotten birthday, another for an unexpected visit, one more to brighten a table lit by a single candle. You don't see the people, but you feel the gestures, and that's enough. When you open your eyes, something catches your attention in the corner of the window. Notebook. Open. Edges damp. You lean in. It's resting inside the glass, but the window is so clean it feels like you could touch it. On the visible page, written in small handwriting. Today, 3 people stopped to look at us. No one took flowers, but all left something invisible. You sit there for a few more minutes. The rain doesn't seem in a hurry to leave, and neither do you. Eventually, you stand. You bow your head slightly toward the buckets and walk again. With the scent of cut leaves still clinging to your umbrella, you keep walking under the gentle rain, hand steady on the handle of the borrowed umbrella, still carrying the delicate scent of sleeping flowers. The wet cobblestones reflect the soft glow of street lamps in a way that feels impossible in a city this big. Everything is slower now, quieter. You turn down a narrow, silent street. In front of you, A wooden bench sits beneath a lazy tree swaying in the breeze. The bench looks almost forgotten, and on it rests an object. You walk closer, your steps making sounds only you can hear. It's a bento box, carefully wrapped in a cloth printed with tiny green leaves and red flowers. The cloth is damp, but folded so precisely that only the edges caught the rain. The box itself is dry, untouched, waiting. You sit down beside it. The bench is cold, but sturdy, the kind of bench that feels like it was placed there for one reason only: to invite pause. You look at the box for a few moments, then gently turn it around. There's a label stuck on with clear tape. Handwritten, round letters. You can open it if you're tired. You're not hungry, but you are tired. Carefully you untie the knot in the cloth. It loosens with a soft, papery sound, like opening an old letter. The lid lifts with a bit of resistance. Inside, there's food. Simple, homemade, arranged with a kind of care that only happens when someone truly means it. Rice molded into tiny triangles, a piece of rolled tamagoyaki, 2 pickled cucumbers, a small sweet potato ball. Each part gently placed, like every section of the box is a little home. In the right corner, between the rice and the potato ball, there's something else. A note. Folded in 4, tied loosely with a yellow string. You pick it up. The ribbon slips from your fingers. The paper is coarse, smelling of time and steam. You unfold it slowly. No name. Just words. Sometimes I make things just to remember that caring is real. If you found this box, maybe it was meant for you. Eat what you want. Or just sit here for a while. Either is fine. You hold the note between your fingers longer than needed. Then place it in your lap. You don't touch the food. You just look at it. And somehow, you feel fed anyway. On the top of the lid, you notice a mark, a tiny embossed seashell, faded but still there. Around it, gentle circles like waves, maybe a symbol of protection or just a beautiful detail no one noticed before. You pick up the sweet potato ball. It's cold but soft. It smells sweet. You take a small bite like you're afraid of breaking a ritual. The flavor spreads gently. Light vanilla, maybe ginger. Something warm, even cold. You chew slowly, and your whole body accepts it as a kind gesture. Across the street, a black cat walks by. Calm. It pauses at the curb, looks at you, blinks slowly, and moves on, like it's saying, "I saw, that's all." You smile softly, just the corner of your mouth. The rain continues to fall on the tree leaves above. Some drops slide onto your shoulder, but you don't move. Next to you, a small public trash bin. You notice someone attached a paper clip shaped like a star to the outer side. Hanging from it, a strip of paper with one word, "Restart." You decide to keep the note. You fold it just as carefully as it was folded for you, and slip it into the inside pocket of your coat, next to the shop map and the train station postcard. It's becoming a small collection of quiet things. You close the box. Tie the cloth again with a simple knot, and place it back where you found it. Not because you want someone else to take it, but because it still belongs to whoever made it, to whoever thought of it. You stand up. The bench creaks beneath your weight. You take one last look at the box. The rain doesn't touch it, and that comforts you. You start walking again, a little fuller, a little slower, a little more whole. You head toward Nihonbashi without hurrying, letting your steps soak up whatever else the city still wants to share. The rain continues, always present, always gentle, drawing thin lines across the fabric of your umbrella like someone patiently stitching the night. The road begins to slope downward ever so slightly. It's barely noticeable, but your feet sense it. The air shifts again. Now it smells like river, wet wood, and old structures that still breathe. You cross an avenue lined with tall trees, all swaying slowly like curtains waiting for the next scene to begin, and then you see it. The bridge. Small, simple, orange, painted in that uniquely Japanese shade that isn't quite red and not quite rust, a color made to glow even under heavy clouds. The sides have short railings, and the curved supports look like they were designed with care rather than precision. You walk closer and stop at the start of it. The wooden planks are damp. They creak softly under your feet, but the sound doesn't startle. It welcomes. The water below is dark, but not dirty. A liquid mirror, rippling gently under the rain. And there, the most unexpected detail. Green reflections. You look down. Traffic lights and signs around the bridge spill across the surface like watered-down paint. Shades of emerald, jade, and rain-soaked moss. They sway with the slow current, turning the water into something alive. You lean on the railing. The umbrella rests softly on your shoulder, and for a moment, you stop feeling the passage of time. On the side of the bridge, there's a metal plaque with old Japanese characters. The raised lettering is partly worn. Below it, nailed into a wooden board with wire, a phrase in English. You are not crossing, you are arriving. You read it more than once, not because you didn't understand, but because you understood so well you needed to see it again. Next to you, a small stone bench. You sit. It still holds warmth, maybe from the day, or from someone else who sat there before you. You watch the water more closely, and start to notice details that weren't visible before. Floating leaves, a translucent piece of paper drifting like a gentle fish. Then a small boat glides by, very slowly, maybe a maintenance vessel. A single man sits inside holding a black umbrella even though the boat has a roof. He doesn't look your way, but it feels like he knows you're there. The boat disappears under another bridge ahead, but the green reflections stay. You lean forward and take in the scent of the wet wood mingled with rain. It's a hard smell to describe, somewhere between an old house and a forgotten book. Something with no name but a lot of memory. On the far side of the bridge, a small lantern hangs from an iron hook. It's lit. The faint glow shines even through the fogged-up glass. You don't know who lights it, but it's there, as if it's always been. The lantern casts a long shadow across the bridge's railing. A shadow that moves with the wind and water like a silent little animation. On the ground, someone has written in thick chalk, Green is what rests after the noise. You stay there for a while just looking. Now and then a larger drop of rain falls from the edge of a nearby roof and hits the water. It creates soft ripples, one ring inside another, and another, until the river returns to its mirror-like calm. You close your eyes for a moment and listen. The sounds here are different from the ones on the street. Everything arrives filtered. A car tire in the distance, a bell ringing somewhere near a temple, a bird singing that never left. When you open your eyes, everything feels quieter, not because the world paused, but because you slowed down. You stand. Before leaving the bridge, you run your hand along the wooden railing. It's damp but solid, and for some reason it feels just right. Like, in that exact moment, this little bridge is the most stable place in the world. You cross to the other side. The rain follows, but now it's no longer something to avoid. It's something that stays with you. You keep walking in silence, leaving behind the bridge of green reflections like a short dream. Brief, but needed. The rain continues, now more sparse, falling with the gentleness of something that's already been heard. The sound it makes, on the leaves, the sidewalks, the steps, the rooftops, it's almost musical. Like a soundtrack made just for your footsteps. The streets widen a little. The lanterns hanging from the poles take on softer edges. In the distance, the silhouette of Sensoji Temple begins to appear through the mist and drizzle. Even at night, even in silence, it holds its presence. Not imposing, but old and alive. You don't head straight for the temple. Instead, you take a side alley where time seems to have gotten stuck in some earlier decade. There, between two closed storefronts with scratched metal shutters and a rusty bicycle resting against a pole, you see something unexpected. A candy machine. Retro. Faded pastel blue. With rounded metal frames like the old-school ice cream parlors. Its glass is slightly fogged and the coin slot looks polished by countless hands. The small interior light flickers lazily. You step closer like you've just found an old toy from your childhood. At the top of the machine, a laminated sign reads, "Candy, since 1971. Turn gently." You insert a coin. The machine swallows it with a hollow click and the tiny crank turns with a soft resistance, like it's testing your patience. Clack. A colorful candy drops into the metal tray with a brief, perfect sound. You bend down to pick it up. It's a translucent red sphere wrapped in crinkled paper. In the center of the wrapper, a small blue flower drawn by hand. No brand, no name, just the candy and the flower. You don't unwrap it right away. You just hold it between your fingers, feeling its uneven shape. The paper edges damp with rain, and the faint warmth it gained inside the machine. Next to the glass, there's a small, yellowed sticker with a phrase in Japanese. "This candy tastes like a childhood that never happened but could have." You sit on the step in front of the machine. The temple is close now, but you don't look at it. You just listen to the bell in the distance, maybe struck by a last visitor. The sound travels through the columns in the courtyard, brushing your shoulders like a gentle hand. The street is empty, and yet it feels full of invisible presences. Footsteps that have already passed, whispers that lingered, old laughter absorbed by the walls. You turn the crank again. Another candy drops, This time, it's green, wrapped in paper with a butterfly sketch. You place it beside the first one. You close your eyes, and for a moment it feels like you're in a summer afternoon that never existed, with warm breezes, the sound of cicadas, and someone's hand guiding you through a fair where everything was new. You unwrap the first candy. It smells like plum. But something else too. Maybe mint? Maybe memory. You place it on your tongue. The flavor is soft, almost faint, but it grows slowly, like a blurry memory coming into focus. You don't chew. You let it melt. Meanwhile, you look at the side of the machine. Someone has taped up small handwritten notes like thank you messages. I ate this candy before saying something important. I came back just to feel small again. This flavor hugged me. I don't remember what it was, but I cried smiling. You finish the candy slowly. The second one still waits. At the base of the machine, a small oval mirror, cracked at the corner. It reflects your image, a little distorted. You see yourself, holding the sushi-patterned umbrella, eyes slightly wet, and a calm expression of someone who now knows there's no need to rush anywhere. You unwrap the second candy. It smells like leaves, something fresh. You hesitate for a moment, then let it rest on your tongue. It's different. A little bitter, a little sweet. Like a conversation that didn't finish but ended in peace. The machine blinks one last time. You stand up. On the wall beside it, a chalk-drawn arrow points behind the machine. Curious, you walk around it. Behind, there's a small wooden box with a sliding lid. Above it, a hand-pinned sign. Leave a taste you'd like to remember. You lift the lid. Inside, tiny pieces of paper written in different hands. Some only say flavor names: green strawberry, cold morning wind, tea with warm bread. Others are phrases: taste of a hug still wet from the rain, flavor of a wait that was worth it, candy of clean porch floor. After sweeping, you take one of the slips and grab the ballpoint pen nearby. You write slowly, the taste of when everything is quiet and you're still here. You fold it. Place it with the others. The temple bell rings again. You return to the sidewalk. The rain continues, but now mixed with the flavor in your mouth, it seems to have sweetened the air. You open your umbrella and walk on, with a candy dissolving gently in silence. You keep walking through the narrow streets behind the temple, guided by a scent you can't quite name. It's not the sweetness of the last candy, not the wet wood of the steps. It's something subtler, like tea spilled on carpet, like cotton cloth dried indoors, like a warm memory from an old home. You turn a quiet corner. There, tucked between two residential houses, is a small shop with a dark wooden facade and rectangular windows framed in thick, wavy glass. On the door hangs a cloth ribbon sign that reads, "Open while it rains." You smile. You push the door open with the palm of your hand. It creaks, as if demanding to be noticed. The air inside the shop is dense but comforting. Humidity, old wood, dried leaves, carpet from years ago. A smell of time lived, of things that repeat themselves slowly. The shop is narrow but deep. lit by low lamps with paper shades that soften the light into warm amber tones. You walk slowly between the shelves. The tea tins are all different. Some are decorated iron, others, unlabeled ceramic. A few are hand-painted. None have expiration dates, only tags handwritten with fountain pen. For mornings that want to stay night. Tea for days that wait. Leaves that dreamed big. Bitter but kind. You read each one like you're leafing through an old book. You're not searching for a flavor. You're waiting for a phrase to recognize you. A soft sound comes from the back of the shop. Water boiling. Bubbles with no urgency. You walk toward it. The counter is low, covered with a beige crocheted cloth. Behind it, an elderly woman with a scarf tied atop her head and a thick wool apron. She smiles without showing teeth. You arrived. Just on time, she says, without asking what you want. She takes a small clay bowl filled with dry leaves of an undefined color. The smell that rises is earthy, toasted, with something like sun-warmed fruit peel. She pours hot water from a cast-iron kettle. The sound of liquid meeting clay is soft, yet deep, like rain falling on already wet ground. The steam rises slowly. It dances through the air with wide movements, then disappears into the low wooden ceiling. She sets the bowl in front of you. You hold it with both hands. It's hot, but bearable. The warmth spreads through your fingers, your wrists, into your coat, as if your whole body is being gently filled by something light yet firm. You take a sip. The taste is hard to explain. Not sweet, not bitter. It's quiet. A tea that doesn't try to prove anything, it simply is. You say nothing. The woman says nothing. She returns to organizing tins behind the counter in slow movements, like she's dancing with the objects. You take in the shop around you. The walls are covered with notes, collages, embroidered scraps, tags clipped up with tiny clothespins. One of them reads, "Don't forget to forget." Another, "This tea understood things you haven't said yet." In the center of the shop, there's a thick carpet rug. On it, a low table with 3 floor cushions. On the table, a wooden tray holds a small arrangement of dried autumn leaves. An improvised ikebana. A turtle-shaped paperweight holds some notes in place. You sit there. The bowl is still warm in your hands. The steam draws soft circles in front of your face. The shop breathes around you. On the nearby wall, an old calendar with its days crossed off in purple pencil. The month isn't current, maybe not even the year. But it doesn't matter. What matters is the empty space left to be filled. The woman approaches again, now holding a pale wooden box. "If you'd like to take some with you," she says. "Choose a scent that finds you first." You get up, open the box. Inside are small fabric sachets tied with string, each one embroidered with a single word. Long. Silence. Underneath. Maybe. You choose underneath. She wraps it in a pale blue ribbon and hands it to you with both hands. You pay with quiet coins. She doesn't thank you with words, just bows her head slightly, as if knowing you didn't come here just for the tea. At the door you glance once more at the sign, "Open while it rains." You smile, the rain is still out there, but now it feels warmer. You keep walking through the damp streets, feeling like you're carrying a warm infusion inside your chest. The little pouch of underneath tea rests quietly in your coat pocket. It sways with each step, as if whispering small instructions for comfort. The neighborhood grows even quieter. Some windows go dark. Others stay lit, glowing like paper fireflies. You turn into a narrow cobblestone street, where the sidewalks barely exist anymore. On your left, a wooden building painted in a soft rust color. Hanging from a straw rope above the door, a small wooden sign reads, Shizuku Inn, small rooms for long nights. The entrance is a sliding door made of frosted glass framed in worn wood. Next to it, a brass bell hangs from a thin chain. You slide the door open. The bell rings. A short, low sound. One note that seems to touch the back of your throat. Then, silence. You step inside. The floor is polished wood, mostly covered with old rugs that creak gently under your shoes. The front desk is just a low counter with a lit lamp, 2 wicker chairs, and a cast iron teapot on a tray. Behind the counter, a woman. She wears a beige wool sweater, glasses hanging from her neck, and a cloud-shaped brooch on her shoulder. She smiles without really lifting her eyes from the notebook in front of her. You step closer. She lifts her hand, pointing to the chair. You sit. Tea? She asks, like someone offering a coat. You nod. She pours the tea with slow, choreographed movements. The bright green liquid fills the ceramic cup like something being poured straight out of a dream. You hold it with both hands. It's hot, but not intense. It smells like fresh leaves and old wood. You blow on it gently. Then sip. The taste is green, clean, and a little earthy. A flavor that grounds you without weighing you down, like a thin blanket on your lap on a chilly afternoon. She slides a small wooden clipboard to you. There's no form to fill, just a paper with your name already written. Someone wrote it for you. The room number is right next to it. Last one on the stairs. Roof view. You hand the paper back. She picks up a key hanging from a ginkgo leaf keychain. The leaf is golden, like it was gathered from one specific autumn. She doesn't say anything else. You stand up, still holding the cup of tea. She points to the stairs, then to a small table beside the glass door. On it, a basket of cloth slippers, all seemingly the same size. You pick a beige pair embroidered with wave patterns. They make no sound when you walk, gliding softly across the wooden floor. The stairs creak. The steps are uneven, slightly slanted, but solid. There's a bamboo handrail tied with faded leather straps. You climb carefully, like entering a book being read in a whisper. On the second floor, the hallway glows with soft light from paper lamps set low near the floor. Each room has a sliding door and a number stitched into fabric. Next to each number, a handwritten note. This room still remembers its first guest. Someone who loved clocks once stayed here. A rain once slept inside this one. You find room 302. The note beside it says, "This is the room where silence asked to stay a little longer." You slide the door open. Inside, only what's needed. A futon folded in the corner on clean tatami. A low table with a ceramic kettle. A paper lantern with an iron base. And a small square window overlooking rooftops. So many rooftops. Layered, some with new tiles, some mossy. Quiet chimneys. Wires stretched between buildings. A hanging lantern here and there. You sit on the tatami. The wood beneath it creaks softly. Not complaining. Just taking note. You lean your back against the wall and let your body settle into itself. The cup is still in your hand. You finish the tea, now lukewarm, still comforting. Rain taps gently on the rooftops. You hear it move across the tiles, down gutters, and into invisible puddles below. A soundtrack for falling asleep with your eyes open. In the corner of the table there's a small notepad. The cover is handmade paper, with crooked lines and a fibrous touch. You write, "I am a guest of the night," even without a reservation. You leave the note right there, between the pages. You lie down. The futon welcomes your weight. The wooden ceiling above has fine cracks like leaf veins. The lamp beside the bed breathes a warm glow. You don't turn it off. You just close your eyes and listen to the roof talk with the rain. You wake up before the sun, but there's no rush. The sky is still gray and the rain is still falling. Softer now, almost like a watery mist. You stay in bed for a while, watching the faint light play shadows on the wooden ceiling, breathing slowly, not thinking about getting up. And still, at some point, your body decides it's time. You put on your coat and head downstairs at Shizuku Inn, your cloth slippers sliding gently over the tatami and wooden steps. The woman at the front desk isn't there, but the teapot is, still warm on the tray. Next to it, a note written with a thick pen. "Come back whenever you need to sleep well." You take a small apple from a basket by the entrance bench. It's cold and sweet to the touch. When you open the door, the street greets you with that early morning air, damp, sleepy, carrying the smell of washed stones and old paper tucked in a memory box overnight. You begin walking. Sumida is still asleep. Shutters are down. Clotheslines still wet. Street lamps still glowing even as the sky brightens. You wander down narrow streets until you reach a wooden walkway that leads to a small single-story house with a porch. The place looks frozen in time, like a sealed letter no one ever mailed. You're not sure why you stop, but you do. The porch floor is made of dark wooden boards, polished by years of sun and rain. And right in the center sits a pair of sandals. Simple ones. Woven straw soles, faded blue straps. They're perfectly aligned, as if someone slipped them off gently, planning to return any minute. You walk closer, quietly. It's so still around you that your own breathing echoes softly over the steps. The sandals don't seem abandoned. There's no rush, no panic. Just the presence of a peaceful absence. You sit on the edge of the porch. Your umbrella rests beside you, still dotted with rain. You look at the sandals, and for some reason you can't explain. It feels like someone left a message without writing a single word. In the corner of the porch, a ceramic pot holds a thin fern. Its leaves drip in time with a leak from the roof. You count the drops without rushing. Plip, plip, plip. Across the street, a house with a window cracked open. White curtains sway gently. You imagine someone there is also awake, quietly watching the world wake up. You close your eyes for a moment and picture the feet that once wore those sandals, how they walked, where they went, if they ever returned, or if they left them there on purpose, as a gesture, a sign, a pause. When you open your eyes, you notice something beside the sandals. A small folded note. You lean over slowly, without standing up. You pick up the paper. It's damp but still readable. I'll come back when I feel the rain has already said everything for me. You hold the note longer than necessary, then gently fold it again and place it right back where it was, next to the sandals. You stand up. Before leaving, you bow your head, not to anyone in particular, but to the act of leaving something behind, with grace. The rain continues, but now it feels lighter, as if the sky too had found a place to leave its shoes. You keep walking through the slow streets of Sumida, now bathed in that early morning light that's not quite day but no longer night. The rain has faded into a soft drizzle, so fine it feels like floating dust. The air tastes like the chill just after a heater has been turned off. You turn down a narrow alley, where the rooftops of the houses almost touch above your head. And there, right at the bend, you find a small bakery. Its front is light beige with dark wood accents. Above the glass door, there's a handwritten sign. Open while the oven is warm. You step closer. There are no flashy posters in the window, no ads or deals. Just a few loaves of bread lined up calmly. None of them perfectly shaped. Some are flatter, some have crusts unevenly browned. They all look like they were made by someone who was either deep in thought or not thinking about anything at all. You push the door open. A soft bell chimes, but it's not the sound that catches you first. It's the smell, a warm, heavy smell you can almost see. Toasted flour, living yeast, slow-melting butter, and something else. Maybe the scent of parchment paper, fresh sliced bread, or thyme baked into the walls. The bakery is small. A wooden counter separates you from the kitchen, but everything is visible. It all feels alive. And then you notice there's no music, no radio, no playlist in the background, only oven sounds. Clack, the door closing. Shh, steam escaping from the dough. Tap, the wooden spatula hitting the tray. Shh, egg wash being brushed across raw crust. Snip, a knife slicing dough into equal parts. You feel your body start to slow down. Behind the counter, a middle-aged woman wears a striped apron and a floral scarf over her hair. She doesn't speak, just smiles, and points with her chin to a tray of warm breads. You pick one. A small round loaf with a cracked crust and darkened edges. She picks it up with wooden tongs, sets it gently on a ceramic plate, and slides it over to you. You pay with soft coins. She gives a brief nod, then turns back to her rhythm with the ovens. You sit at one of the two tables. The wooden chair creaks, but the sound fits the room. You rest your elbows and take it all in. On the wall, there's a slow-moving analog clock with a heavy iron frame. It ticks, not too fast, not too slow, just steady, like a heartbeat that's finally on its own time. You pick up the bread. It's still warm. The crust cracks with a sound much louder than expected. You bite. The crust gives way. The center is soft, moist, full of butter and something else. Maybe milk, maybe warm air, maybe care. You chew slowly. In the back, the oven beeps. The woman pulls on thick gloves and opens the door with one smooth motion. A cloud of steam rushes out. The window fogs over for a second. And just like that, The bakery smells fresh again, like it just woke up. She pulls out a tray of long loaves. Some are touching at the sides. One, a bit more crooked, seems to have shrunk on purpose. She separates it with extra care, sets it aside. Next to your plate, there's a wrinkled cloth napkin and a small handwritten note leaning against the wall. Here, oven sounds are enough. You finish the bread quietly. You sip from a glass of water left at the table without you asking. It's cool. You look up at the ceiling. The lights are old glass fixtures. Inside, soft bulbs that don't flicker. They glow like they're breathing. In the corner, there's a black and white photo of the bakery. Same front, same oven. The only difference is the sign above the door. Below the photo, written in pen, always warm, even when the rain was worse. You close your eyes, just for a moment, and listen only to the sound of the oven working. No urgency, no plan, just being present. You stand up, carry the plate to the counter. The woman doesn't say a word. She just wipes the rim with a cloth and smiles. At the door, you reach for your umbrella. It opens with a soft snap. You glance back. She nods just slightly, as if to say, "Come back when you're empty again." You step outside. The rain is still falling, but now, it feels like it's made from the same steam that rises from warm bread. And inside you, something keeps baking quietly. A sound of an oven that never needed words. You leave the bakery not just carrying the warmth of bread, but a kind of quiet inside you. The kind that feels like a folded blanket resting on your shoulders. The rain has started again. Not heavy, just steady, like it gave you a break, and has now come back gently. The borrowed umbrella hums softly with every drop that lands. The sound it makes is more comforting than any conversation could be. You cross a cobbled street glowing gold under the street lamps. The air smells like soy sauce, old wood, and something smoky, like someone's been simmering soup since morning. Up ahead, nearly hidden behind a dark awning and paper-covered windows, you spot a tiny restaurant. No sign, just a wooden board. Leaning against the doorframe, thick brushstrokes in Japanese. Hot soup, always. You push the door open with the back of your hand. It gives way with the sound of wood that's learned how to give. Inside, the lighting is soft and amber-toned. The bulbs are old, some hanging from fabric cords, others tucked inside bamboo shades. The place is narrow, but it doesn't feel cramped. It feels like it's holding its breath, waiting for you. You choose a small table in the corner, facing a wall lined with quiet kitchen tools, ladles, wooden spoons, graters, handmade pot holders. At the back of the room, a wooden counter. Behind it, a thin man wearing a deep blue apron tied with soft cotton straps. He doesn't speak, just nods once gently. Then turns back to a large pot, stirring something slow and sweet-smelling. You take in the room. The ceiling is raw wood. The floor smooth cement. On each table, a candle inside a frosted glass cup. The glass glows softly, pulsing like it's breathing with you. On the wall behind the counter, there's an old-fashioned clock. Round face, iron frame, big numbers. It ticks, a deep, slow, steady tick. You hear it blending with the sound of soup bubbling, the floor creaking now and then, and the soft clink of a spoon on a bowl. The man places a bowl in front of you. Miso soup. It comes in a brown ceramic bowl, the glaze cracked like roots across its surface. The broth is gently cloudy. Bits of tofu float on top, along with green, onions, seaweed, and a bit of grated ginger in the middle. You hold the bowl with both hands. It's hot. Not burning, just filling. It warms your fingers, your wrists, your arms. You blow on it softly, then take a sip. The flavor is deep, salty in a calm way, like it's been seasoned with memory. The seaweed melts in your mouth. The tofu slides softly. The broth, it's a hug. You close your eyes and chew slowly. The clock ticks. Another spoonful. Tick. Outside, the rain taps on the window with a rhythm only midnight understands. Across the room, a woman sits alone at another table. She's writing in a small notebook, hair tied back, a cup of tea beside her. Her food untouched. She doesn't seem in a hurry to eat. She looks like she's waiting for the clock to say something first. You eat half the soup, then stop. Not because you're full, but because you realize there's no need to rush. Beside your bowl, a handwritten card. If you'd like to write something, we have paper. But silence is okay too. You flip the card over. On the back, just 3 words. Everything. Feels warm. You smile a little. From the counter, the man pours barley tea for everyone. No questions asked. He slides the cup toward you. The tea is warm, slightly toasty. It matches the steam still rising from your soup. On the wall near the clock, a framed phrase in black ink on old paper. Time doesn't have to run fast for you to go far. You finish your soup slowly, sip the tea. Watch the clock's hand move a tiny step forward. Tick. And somehow you understand. That sound might just be your own thoughts coming home. You stand up gently. Leave your coins on the wooden tray beside your bowl. The man smiles, not with his mouth, with his shoulders. You step outside. The rain is thinner now. You look up and feel the flavor of the soup still in your throat. A warm flavor. The kind that says, even when you're not expecting it, someone out there is still cooking something good just for you. Quietly, you walk toward the station like you're being carried by a warm thread of air. The miso soup still lingers gently in your chest, and the ticking of the clock echoes in quiet rhythm between your steps. Outside, the city has turned off most of its lights, but not all. It seems to be waiting for you to board the next train before it switches off the last lamp. The platform is almost empty. An older woman with glasses is asleep, her chin resting on her chest. A young man listens to something through oversized headphones, eyes closed. And you, hands in your pockets, the sushi umbrella still damp, wait in silence. The train arrives with a soft sound, as if sliding on velvet. The doors open with a quiet psh, not wanting to disturb anyone. You step in. The car is empty, not cold, just spacious. You pick the seat by the window and rest your head lightly against the padded wall. The texture feels like old fabric, like your grandmother's couch, worn but warm. The train sways gently as raindrops land one by one on the metal roof above. The train starts to move. and you begin to breathe like someone gently powering down. The city lights run down the window in liquid streaks, signs, headlights, lampposts, shadows. The glass is fogged in places, marked by the faint shape of someone else's forehead, someone who rested here long before you. The view begins to change. Bridges appear like the spine of a sleeping giant. The streets dissolve into elevated roads, and, somewhere ahead, still hidden, Odaiba. But the destination matters less and less. You close your eyes for a moment. You hear the sound of the wheels on the tracks. The train hums low like a cat purring under a blanket. Clack, 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 clack. The seat vibrates gently with the rhythm. Your body gives in. So does your mind. The sky outside is clearer now. But the clouds remain. They don't threaten. They just exist. Like a heavy blanket the whole world has agreed to share. The train voice announces the next stop, but you don't move. The name doesn't matter. The seat doesn't protest. Your hands rest open on your lap. Your umbrella slips softly to the floor. The thump is barely a whisper. It settles there like a comma. You open your eyes. Colorful lights appear near the edge of the river. Distant signs, shop fronts, bike headlights crossing bridges. Their reflection in the water dances like watercolor, swirling. You remember something you once read, maybe on a poster, maybe in a subway corridor, or maybe you just made it up now. Traveling is the art of sleeping in motion. You rest your head again. Your eyes blink once, twice. Then, no more. You still hear the train. You still feel the gentle rocking. But now everything is inside, slow, unhurried. You don't fall asleep all at once. You fall asleep slowly, like crossing a bridge, like floating on a lake of warm mist, like closing the last page of a book you don't want to finish. The train keeps moving forward as you surrender to the soft gravity of sleep. The city lights have already faded, and what remains in the window are resting shadows and small dots of color, glowing like thoughts that don't need a shape. The world stretches out outside, and inside everything settles. You feel your whole body sink into the seat, as if the fabric had been shaped for your tiredness. Nothing is tight. Nothing holds you back. There's just a warm temperature resting gently on your skin. Your eyes close. Not like someone switching off, but like someone returning inward. Your breathing slows. The sound of the wheels on the tracks becomes a round, repeating lullaby, made to cradle what little thought is left. Every noise now feels farther away. The soft voice that announces each station sounds like a slow prayer, with no clear words, just intention. Outside, a lit bridge appears for a second, then disappears, like a memory that visits and leaves without asking. There are headlights drifting like fireflies, and high above a tower blinks slowly as if saying, "You're safe now." You don't even notice your body shifting. Your shoulders have softened, your head has tilted, time has stopped ticking and turned into a pulse. Now, everything is rhythm, breathing, the absence of hurry. The sushi-patterned umbrella still rests on the floor, wet but calm. The small bag with the underneath tea sleeps quietly beside you, along with a folded map, a postcard, a note inside a bento box, and so many tiny pieces of silence gathered from the city. You begin to dream, not in clear pictures, but in sensations. You feel the warmth of a forgotten teacup in your hands, the hum of a dryer drum spinning, the smell of old paper tucked away in a patient stationery shop, the sound of rain tapping a plastic awning, always landing in the same spot, never missing, and you feel a presence watching from afar, not like a guard, but like someone silently wishing you good night. The train moves on. The seat cradles your body with care. The world outside fades, and you, effortlessly, begin to fade with it. Like a spoonful of sugar in warm tea. Like steam rising from a bowl of soup. Like words that no longer need to be spoken. Sleep covers you fully. Midnight rocks you gently. And the train, so kind, keeps carrying everything with the tenderness of someone who knows exactly when to stop. End of script. Sweet dreams.